Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is AbsLegend, and in today's video I'll be giving you a brief walkthrough on TOB challenge mode that was released 2 days ago. Pay no extra attention to some of the gear that I'm using or some of the mechanics in too much detail, because it's very likely that a lot of this will change in the coming days/weeks, especially if some of the content is harder /bugs/glitches that Jaggers haven't thought about get adjusted. So welcome, and I'll go straight into the video now. Okie dokie. So the first boss, Maiden of Sugadinti. Number one, the first main change is that you can no longer damage the blood spawns that move around, those heat-seeking little tomatoes. And the more they move around, the more of the blood that gets spread around. That blood stays there permanently for the rest of the room, so it's really important to try and minimize the movement of the blood spawn by trying to freeze it if you're one of the mage rolls. Obviously do that well before the 70s, 50s, and 30 crab spawn. Talking about the crabs, in 5, 4, and 3 mans, you get max crabs. So even in trios now in hard mode, you're going to have 2 people with max mage or enough gear to catch the freezes permanently. Also, if the crabs go in, it increases Maiden's attack speed and how hard she hits. And there's also this theory that if she hits the same person over and over, she hits for more and more. So you have to alternate tank as well as you can. Furthermore, the crab's range defense is higher, so you're going to have to start barraging clumps in order to do damage, whereas in normal top you'll have people chinning. Where in hard mode you're going to have a combination of chinning as well as barraging. And of course it's really important to get that BGS in there to reduce her defense to 0. If I've missed anything, feel free to leave something down in the comments, but otherwise that's all the changes there are for Maiden. Moving on to the Pestilent Bloat. So this room is pretty simple, to be honest. I guess his defense is slightly higher HP maybe. And one of the main changes are that the hands will always be falling. So usually in normal mode, the hands only fall when he's walking. Whereas now, even when Bloat is standing still, hands will still be falling. So you see him right now where he's not moving. The hands are still falling. So you got to be careful 24/7. There's no downtime. And that's pretty much it. There's some rumors that if you BGS spec once every phase, it might be worth it, because it's quite difficult to get 2 phase unless everybody's hitting very high, and bring some Gothics rest as well. Again, if I've missed anything, please leave something down in the comments and I shall get back to you. Okie dokie, so the Nyla room. You'll start this off the same. Everyone's going to get into the position in their own gears, in their own roles. And then the DPS person, one of the DPSs, will pot share a stamina potion, and then you're going to enter the room. There's a couple of significant changes here, so just bear with me. One of the biggest changes is that there's going to be a mini-boss spawning every 10 waves, and there's 31 waves in total, so you'll get 3 mini-bosses. It starts off exactly like the main boss at the end, where you've got a giant melee crab that jumps from the roof of into the middle of the map. The best way to handle him is to Dragon Claw into Halley, but you lose 80% of your special attack. So some people prefer doing a Scythe into a Halley, and that way you've done a lot of damage, but you haven't lost much of your special attack energy. You should always prioritize the normal aggros first, because the mini-boss doesn't actually do that much damage, to be honest, even off prayer. So first, get rid of your own aggros in the middle of the map, and then after doing the Scythe into the Halley, sorry, you want to then focus on the mini-boss only when it's your own attack style. So for example, you can see in the clip that I'm only attacking it with my own attack style, with range, when I've got some time. And then after that, the rest of the waves are pretty much the same as normal top. You'll have double range wave at wave 10, you'll have double mage around wave 11, etc. The pillars HP might be slightly higher, I'm not entirely certain about that, but it's very important you don't aimlessly barrage them, because each Nylo is permanently venged. So if you hit the Nylo, for example, a ranged Nylo with melee, the melee damage you do in the ranged Nylo is going to come back to you, so you can't accidentally Scythe on the pillars anymore if you've got, say, 2 melees and 2 mages, because the 2 mages you hit, all the damage you do to them will get reflected back onto you, and then obviously you can't hit them anymore. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the boss now, so I'm going to skip a little bit into the video where I get closer towards the main boss spawning. You want to find a tile somewhere where you can agree with your team to stand on. One of the DPS role will pot share range, and you want to start off with your melee gear. You're going to special attack the boss with claws into Halley, etc. Do as much damage as you can to start it off with. And then it's really important that if it's a mage phase, you guys stick together because the mage attack will split and hit everyone. And if it's a range phase, then it's really important you do the opposite. You run far away because the closer you are, the more damage you'll take for the range. And the further away you are, the less damage you take with the range. The more damage you take with mage. So it's exactly opposites. You have to. Communication is really important here. You discuss with your team who's running north, who's running east, who's running south, and who's standing still, etc. So as you can see in this clip, I'm just running back and forth. And if people mess up, then of course you're going to take a lot of damage, and so will your team. It's possible for your entire team to wipe if people are not coordinated very well. One of the key tips I can suggest is after range phase, just run straight in because it can only be mage or melee. And if it's mage, you have to be close anyways. And then straight after mage phase, what I like to do is run away because I know after mage it can only be range or melee. And if it's range, then I did the right thing. And if it's melee, I can just click Scythe and go straight back. I hope that makes sense. So, you can just click Scythe and go straight back. Sotetseg is one of those rooms where what I've just said before is extremely important, where communication is key. So I'll start off by talking about the 10 small orbs, okay? So essentially, Sotetseg will attack you with little mage and range orbs, which are red and black. Pray accordingly and you'll be fine. Every 10 of the small orbs you get 2 big balls in hard mode, where normally in normal top you'll only get 1 ball. Those 2 big balls that come can attack 2 random people, but if there's only 1 person alive, then he has to get both of them. And the only way to survive if you're alone is by tick eating them, which is sort of possible because they're 5 ticks apart, so you have plenty of time to tick eat. There's normal spec rolls here, so someone will spec 1-2, which means special attack before the first maze and before the second maze, etc. And then someone will do 2-3, 1-3, and backup roll, etc. And so at 63, 66 and 33%, you'll have the maze, and everyone this time will get sent into the Shadow Realm, just like you can see in this clip. I'm the only one who's not in the realm. And each person in that Shadow Realm can see a portion of the maze. So like I said, communication is key. You have to talk with each other and know who's doing the first portion of the maze, who's doing the second, who's doing the third, and you have to move quickly. It's really important to move quickly because, one, there's a tornado following me, and there's also a tornado following my teammates who are inside the Shadow Realm. So it's possible for everyone to die instantly if people aren't talking to each other really well. Some of the ways you can handle the 2 big balls that come is you can have 2 people standing in the middle tile of Sotetseg like you do in normal top, and 1 person's to the left and 1 person to the right, and the people to the left and right are the ones with the ball. That way you evenly distribute the damage across the team, and everyone should take like 30-40 damage in 4-mans, and I think it's something like 50s in trios, something of that nature. Or if everyone's low HP, then it's just easy to just tick eat it. And that's pretty much it on Sotetseg, to be honest. Communication is key. PS, fire stamina. Okie dokie. So we've got Xarpus next. We're almost at Verzik. So Xarpus is probably one of the easier rooms. You want to start off by going in the middle tile. If you're on the left or right tiles, you're going to take a little bit of damage from the poison tiles that she sends out. You have a lot less room to work with, so it's very important you do as much damage as you can with the tiles that you've got. And the best way to do that is if everyone uses Scythe and 5 tick Xarpus. If you can't 5 tick, then 5.3 tick work as well, where it's the same as P2 Verzik, where you just skip a hit every 4 hits. And in 4-man, she summons 5 more exhumes than normal 4-man top, so she'll have like 20 exhumes instead of 15 exhumes. And then around 28%, where she begins P3 Xarpus, you just want to spread out in 4 different quadrants, and you just want to hit the boss. She basically looks at whoever is hitting her. So as long as people just take turns hitting her, and you spread out, then P3 Xarpus is actually easy in hard mode than it is in normal mode, because you can just literally AFK it. So I'll show you a clip right now of me doing that. Just before that, I show you guys exactly how to do P3 Xarpus. It's probably a good idea just to see how to do P2 Xarpus. What it looks like, how people, when people are scything Xarpus effect. Okay, so as you can see here in this clip, Xarpus has already screeched, and me and someone are standing on the same tile. He's clicked a bit too early, so he's got himself killed. Somebody else, so I'm waiting for Xarpus to turn around, and then as soon as she did that, I attacked. She's looking at me, and then my teammates attack, and he looks at her, and then she looks at me, etc. It just goes back and forth. Now it's literally my hands are just off the keyboard, and I'm just AFKing at this point. You can see my mouse not moving. That's how simple it is once you get it into the rhythm. So you just have to coordinate and communicate a little bit. Cool, that's all there is to Xarpus. Moving on to Verzik. P1 Verzik. Finally, we have reached Verzik. Okay. So you want to start off this fight by doing exactly the same thing you normally do. Orb order. First person in the orb does 2 special attacks, drops it for the second person does 2 special attack, drops it behind the pillar for the third person, which is me. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to do my first special attack, and then I'm going to run to the other pillar. The reason you do this is because if you attack from a pillar, in hard mode, there's a chance, or actually it's guaranteed, that Verzik will drop rocks randomly around you. The good thing is that the rocks only deal damage on the tile that they land on. They're not AoE, they don't do like splash damage around. So you only have to watch out for that one specific tile. Don't do what my teammate just did here. Don't run back for a staff, just leave it. There's lots of time. Both pillars have plenty of HP. If you go back like this and attack from both pillars, then you're going to get rocks falling on both sides. Then you're going to have a lot of issues, just like before and just like now. So then it becomes very hard to know exactly where to stand. And that's pretty much P1. Couple of things to mention for P2 Verzik. So number one, the range auto attack that she does can hit 70 off prayer instead of 40 like normal mode. So you've got to be very careful with those. And each one will spawn an acid pool like the one you see. They stays there on the ground for 20 ticks. So which means you can do 4 hits with your scythe before the first one you made disappears. So you only need really 4 tiles in order to and just move around them in like a square fashion, for example. You also need to be careful of the spiders that spawn. They've got a bigger explosion radius and they deal more damage, so just be careful. Just run into them and run away, and that will trigger them and they'll blow up and you'll be fine as long as you do it nice and quick and properly. Don't waste time freezing them. And then I guess I can talk a little bit about 35% red spiders. Those have slightly bigger HP, so normally you're going to have, in normal mode, you do 2 scythe hits, but in hard mode, you'll have to usually do 3 scythe hits to kill them, and it's better to just finish them off. Uh, I would suggest having one person who's the DPS role on either side of Verzik, because that person can then do pot share. Therefore, you're using your resources effectively and efficiently. And remember to keep your mage prayer up for 35%. And that's pretty much P2. Congratulations if you've made it this far. This is finally P3 Verzik. This is where a lot of people tend to die. And it's what I said earlier on with Nilo and Sotetseg. You need good communication. And there's a number of reasons for that. So the first reason is every 4 auto attacks, she has a high chance of changing aggro. So she won't stick to the same person as she always does, even if you just keep attacking. So as you saw in that clip just now, she just changed aggro. So the first 4 attacks, you'll have spiders spawning, do what you normally do, run into them, run away, done. And then after that, you'll have web spawning, and you're going to do webs exactly as you normally do. Everyone starts on the south tile, run around counterclockwise, hit on each one of those yellow marked tiles, nice and easy. And then usually at this point, in normal TOB, you would do enough damage to spawn the purple healing tornadoes around 20% HP. But I would suggest, until you get a bit more experience, just to hold off and do not send the tornadoes. Just wait, because there's a new mechanic here, which is instead of sending one yellow pool, Verzik will now send 3 yellow pools for each person that's alive. Oh, he got muted, see you do. Like I was saying, 3 yellow pools for each person that's alive. So you have to step between each one of those pools within a number of ticks. I think you've got something like 2 to 3 ticks to get between them. So for example, you have to call out your quadrant. So for example, in voice, I told my teammates I'm northwest. I'm on the first tile. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 or 4 ticks there to get to the next yellow pool. Each one of the yellow balls has to be on one of the yellow pools, otherwise you take a considerable amount of damage. And it's quite hard to do that if you've got tornadoes at the same time. So that's why we held off there. So that's one of the reasons people can die. And also, you're going to see in a second now, once we do enough damage to get our HP to 4%, she heals back up to 30%. So effectively, you have to do 20 to 30% with tornadoes, 50% with tornadoes of her HP. Also, this green ball thing you have to be very careful about. Do not spend hours and hours just bouncing it between yourselves, because you're going to lose focus of the boss and you're going to end up healing her too much. A lot of learners I see now are dying like this. Well, not learners, we're all technically learners right now since we're all learning the mechanics. But I would suggest just bounce it once or twice, and somebody with very high HP can just go tank the ball. It's going to do something like 80 to 60 damage. Just heal up to absolute maximum. Take the ball away from the person who's got it, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. Then you can just DPS. If you can communicate and coordinate this properly with your teammates, the rest of P3 Verzik is very simple. Okay, the same mechanic. Someone's running webs, someone's DPSing from far away. Do not step into webs, etc. And if you've followed everything I've said in this video so far, congratulations, you have completed hard mode TOB, and now the next challenge is to complete it in time. And then good luck with your kits and your increased loot chance at purple. So thank you so much if you've watched the video so far, and if you've got any questions, feel free to put them down in the comment section and I will get back to you. Peace.